Hi everyone. Welcome back to Therapy Tip Tuesday. My name is Amanda and I'll be sharing another fun therapy tip with you today about social and pragmatic language. Today's therapy tip will focus on the social and pragmatic aspects of language, which sometimes can be a little bit tricky to teach. So, with school just around the corner, turn taking, sharing, maintaining conversation, using appropriate body language, and self-advocacy skills are super important to encourage and instill in your children. And those are just a few ways that we use language in social situations. Pragmatic language or social language refers to the skills that we use in our daily interactions with others. So this includes what we say, how we say it, our nonverbal communication skills, such as making eye contact with someone or using different facial expressions when we speak to someone or listen to someone, as well as how appropriate our interactions are in social situations in general. Pragmatic skills are very important when communicating our personal thoughts, our feelings, and ideas, and sometimes children who have a difficult time in this area misinterpret what other people are saying to them and may not have an appropriate response. A great way that you can facilitate pragmatic and social language with your kids is by playing games. I know. How simple and easy. And this one is even easier than easy because you don't need anything, you need nothing, but it's perfect. So, because most games involve multiple people, at least I would say more than one, you have to learn how to take turns and you have to learn to listen and follow directions to make sure that you're playing the game fairly. This also would require the kids to engage with the other players and make sure that they're looking at them when they're speaking and making good eye contact so they know that they're when it's their turn and when it's the next person's turn and things like that. And of course, sharing. So, the game that I'm talking about is called Simon Says. And I'm sure we're all familiar with this game. I'm sure we've all played it at one point in our lives. But, just in case, a quick rundown. One person gets to be Simon. You probably don't even have to call it Simon, but for the sake of this game, we'll call it Simon. And whoever plays Simon stands at the front or in front of the other players, and this person who is playing Simon will be giving directions to the other players about an action that they have to fulfill. So, for example, we could say, Simon says, touch your head. And everyone behind this person who is Simon has to touch their head, and the goal is to, get people out to see who's not paying attention, who's not listening, or who didn't do the right action. This is also really great because if you're working on body parts, you could do a whole thing about, touch your head, touch your nose, touch your toes, and it's super fun and interactive. All right, so our language part comes in when we have to listen to directions. So we have to use our receptive language skills. And receptive language is the language that we hear and understand. So when someone's giving us the directions of, okay, Simon says, touch your ear or wiggle your fingers, we have to use our receptive language skills to understand and make sure that we're listening and hearing so we can perform the action. And then we have our expressive language skills, which goes hand in hand with turn taking and sharing when we switch between who can be Simon. So we're taking turns, we're learning that we have to take turns, we have to share during our game to make sure everyone gets a fair chance to have fun and to give the directions. And by giving the directions, we are actually using our expressive language, so that's what we say. And we use the words we know and our rules of our language to help us express ourselves, and in this case, to help us play our game. Something else that's a really good lesson to teach during games is how to lose gracefully. So every child is different, well, every person is different. Everyone has a different reaction to losing, whether it's something as small as a game or something bigger. But in this case, we're talking about kids, and sometimes, depending on the child, they can get really upset and they can get really disappointed. So, talking about losing is actually a good idea. So, through the use of this super simple and fun game, and actually any other game that you may have in your house, whether it's super interactive and involves your whole body, or it's something as simple as a board game, you can actually teach how to lose. And this would be a really great opportunity to model losing yourself. So if you were to lose, how would you respond? What were things that you could say? What would your reaction be? And your child will see through you how they could also handle losing, which is great. Sometimes it can be difficult because some kids definitely get upset and they take it to heart and they think it has something to do with them and if they're good enough, and of course that's not the case. So I would definitely encourage just talking your kids through it, allowing them to feel and express their emotions and their upset and their disappointment about losing this game, but then also encourage them to continue to try. It has nothing to do with you. Sometimes it's only luck. People win by chance. And also, even if it was a game that was maybe a little bit more challenging, you could point out the person that won and say to your kids, wow, they must have tried really hard, but that's okay. That's something you can do too, and we could try that next time. Really using this time as a good opportunity to kind of change their perspective about something and see it in a different light would be really helpful. Also, during games, you can target self-advocacy skills, which is something that kind of gets on the back burner a little bit, but especially when you're in a school, you're in the classroom, and there's a lot of kids around and a lot of people asking questions, you want your child to know how to ask for help. Sometimes kids will feel embarrassed, or maybe they feel like the teacher is too busy for them. Whatever their reason is, you want them to be able to raise their hand and ask whoever is available in the classroom to better explain something or to clarify something that maybe they're unsure of, because this will get them further. They'll be able to understand better, especially if someone is clarifying something for them. So, the cool thing about this tip is that you can pretty much target all these different skills by playing any game that you have, any game in your house, any board game, a card game, or this fun interactive game like Simon says where it really involves your whole body. You could target all these different things, all this different type of language, but specifically social and pragmatic language through games. So hopefully this was helpful and it will give you a fun way to target language and learning with your kids before school starts. All right, see you next time.